Hello, my name is Teresa Teedy, and I serve as the Financial Aid Officer at Clinton Community College, one of the Eastern Iowa community colleges. I would like to take this opportunity to share with you information about financial aid, and this information is pertinent regardless of what college or institution you're planning on attending. With that, I would like to share my screen and a PowerPoint with you. Finding money for college. Financial aid consists of any type of funding that is provided to the student and the family to help pay for college. There are four main types of financial aid, including grants, scholarships, student loans, and college work study. A grant is based on financial need and does not have to be repaid. Scholarships may be based on a wide variety of different criteria, including academics, financial need, special talents or characteristics that the student possesses, and/or the degree in which they are pursuing. Scholarships do not need to be repaid either. Student loans are funding wherein the student borrows money to help them with their educational expenses, and loans must be repaid. We encourage students to only borrow what they need. College work study is a part-time job opportunity, either on or off campus, and the student earns a paycheck based on the work that they have performed. These four different types of financial assistance come from various funding sources. That includes the federal government, the state, the colleges themselves, private sources, community organizations, and/or employers. The federal government is the largest source of financial aid, and generally, financial aid is based on that of need. The student must file a free application for federal student aid every year. The term for that is FAFSA, and there are eligibility requirements that need to be met. Some examples of the federal student aid program are federal Pell Grant, federal supplemental educational grants, federal work study, federal direct loans, federal plus loans, which are loans where parents borrow on behalf of the students, Iraqi, Afghanistan service grants, or teach grants. State aid requirements include that the student is a resident of the state in order to qualify for funding. This type of aid may also be based on either merit or need, and again, the student completes the FAFSA. At the end of the FAFSA application, the form allows you to directly link to your state application. So if you are a student attending an Iowa college, you would link to the Iowa application. If you're attending an out-of-state school, you would link to that application. The deadlines vary by state, but if you are planning on attending an Iowa college for the 21-22 school year, the Iowa deadline is July 1st of 21. Some common state of Iowa financial aid programs include the Iowa Tuition Grant, which is for students enrolled in private colleges, KIBI Grant, which is for community college students, Iowa National Guard scholarships, All Iowa Opportunity Scholarship, Iowa Vocational Technical Tuition Grant, again, something for community college students, Future Ready Iowa Grant, Education Training Voucher, Branstad State Fair Scholarship, and the Future Ready Last Dollar Scholarship. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the Last Dollar Scholarship since this is a newer program to the state of Iowa. This program is also available to students who are attending an Iowa community college, and there are a select few private colleges that last dollar scholarship funding is available at. Again, this is a program that is under Governor Reynolds' Future Ready Iowa initiative. It's financial assistance to Iowa residents who are enrolled in high demand career and technical education programs. And the scholarship equals the remaining tuition and fees after federal and state grants are applied. The program is not need-based. There is no maximum expected family contribution, and all eligible students qualify for a minimum award. That minimum award is $250 per semester based on full-time enrollment. Last dollar scholar students fall into various categories. High school students who are considered group 1 are students who are enrolled full-time continuously in a qualified program of study immediately after graduation. Adult learners, or group 2, are individuals who are age 20 or older who are enrolled in qualified programs of study, and they can either be full-time or part-time with continuous enrollment, and they can enter the program at any term. A subgroup is that of high school graduates who are enrolled in approved state recognized work-based learning programs. These individuals do not have to be full-time, but the Iowa Department of Education is going to approve those state recognized work-based learning programs to determine those eligibility group of students. Other criteria for the last dollar scholar is to annually complete the FAFSA, meet satisfactory academic progress as defined by the college, attend a college orientation, work with an academic advisor, participate in advising sessions, and to consider participating in a volunteer mentor program. General scholarships are that students have the opportunity to apply for as many scholarships as they can. If you are currently in high school, I encourage you to work with your guidance office to determine scholarship opportunities for you as a graduating senior. Typically, this office has the information about those opportunities. You also want to contact the colleges themselves that you're considering attending to find out what scholarship opportunities are available, what the application process is, and what the deadline is. You can also apply for scholarships in your community and at a national level at both fastweb.com and finaid.org. Please be mindful of deadlines. I always like to preach that if it takes a student an hour to complete 3 different scholarship applications, one through the high school, one through the college, and one through their community, and they were offered a $500 scholarship, that might not seem like a whole lot of money, but thinking it in terms of that was a pretty good $500 an hour investment in your education. And again, all these small scholarships add up to equal more financial aid for students and hopefully have the opportunity to borrow less money through the federal government, which requires repayment. Those who can get financial aid are those that are US citizens or eligible non-citizens, those who have a high school diploma or equivalent, those enrolled in a degree certificate program at a career or college, a career school or college, has a valid social security number. If they are a male, they're registered with the Selective Service, and they're meeting satisfactory academic progress. How do you apply for financial aid? The first thing you want to do is to create a username called a username and password called the FSA ID. You can complete this username and password by visiting studentaid.gov or directly linking on to this link provided in the handout. If you and your parent and you are considered a dependent student, both of you must create your own FSA ID, and you cannot share that ID. When you create this ID, you do not want to use your high school email address because that email address is going to expire upon your high school graduation. You and your parent cannot use the same email address, and we do not want you to share your ID with anyone. This helps to protect your security. To continue to apply for financial aid, you're going to complete that FAFSA annually, and you can apply as early as October 1st to meet the next year's deadline. So right now, students have been applying since October 1st of 2020 for the FAFSA for the 21-22 school year, which begins next fall. Depending on where you're planning to attend college, state deadlines can be found. And again, if it's an Iowa college, that deadline is July 1st. The colleges may have what they refer to as a priority deadline, and you can find out the college's deadline by visiting the school's website. You can get help with the FAFSA when you go to studentaid.gov to complete that online application. There is a live chat option, an email option, and also a phone option. You can get assistance with your FSA ID, FAFSA questions, student loan questions, etc. You should also be made aware that Federal Student Aid also has a YouTube channel with some very helpful videos on how to create the FSA ID, how to regain access if you forget a password, FAFSA tips, etc. The FAFSA is a form that collects demographic and financial information about the student and family. Information is used to calculate the expected family contribution, or EFC. Colleges use the results of the FAFSA to award financial aid. You will use prior year's taxes. Example is you would be using the 2019 federal tax return when you file your 21-22 FAFSA. You are strongly encouraged to use what they refer to as the IRS data retrieval tool, which transfers tax information from the IRS to your FAFSA. Again, that FAFSA can be filed at any time annually after October 1st. And again, for 21-22, it's time to file that FAFSA now, and be mindful of the institutions that you're attending and what deadlines they have set for filing your FAFSA. When you go to complete the FAFSA, you will be asked a series of questions, and these questions will help determine your dependency status. If you answer these series of questions no to all responses, you are considered to be a dependent student, which means when you file your FAFSA, you will have to use both the student and the parent's information. If the student answers yes to any of the questions in this area on the FAFSA, the student is considered to be independent and parental information would not be required. There is a process called verification, and it's a random process selected by the Federal Processing Center that requires families to submit documents to validate information provided on the FAFSA. If the student is randomly selected, they may be required to submit additional paperwork to the financial aid office, such as tax returns and other requested documents. If the family chooses to use the IRS data retrieval tool, which is strongly encouraged, they will have an easier time with the verification process. If you are asked to submit any documents to your college, make sure that you submit those within a timely manner so that the college can communicate back to you the results. There's something that is called the cost of attendance, and this is comprised of direct and indirect costs. And this cost of attendance is defined by each of the colleges, and they include direct costs such as tuition, fees, books and supplies, plus indirect costs, which include such things as room and board, transportation, living expenses. And both of these costs combine to create your cost of attendance. And your cost of attendance is going to vary from college to college. Another piece of information that is helpful to be aware of is that of the expected family contribution, or EFC. The EFC is derived directly from the results of the FAFSA, and it is a measurement of the students' and families' ability to pay for college. If the student is dependent, this EFC is comprised of both a student and a parental contribution. If the student is independent, then obviously it's just a student contribution. The important thing to remember about EFC is your EFC is going to remain the same regardless of the college the student attends. So remember, your cost of attendance varies from college to college, but the EFC remains the same. This is a visual about what is financial need. Financial need is the cost of attendance at that college minus that expected family contribution, and whatever's left over is called financial need. The institution that can then offer financial aid up to this financial need figure from the various types of financial assistance that we've already talked about in the form of grants, scholarships, student loans, and employment. Once the college receives the results of your FAFSA and you have supplied all of the documents that have been asked of you, you will receive an award notification from the college. More than likely, this will come to you in an electronic format, and you will probably need to log into the student portal to view this award notification. And that student portal is located on the college's website. You need to evaluate each award letter to determine the different types of financial aid that's being offered to you. Some of the things that you want to consider with the award letter are what of the type of financial aid that I'm being offered, what is consisted of things like grants and scholarships that I don't have to pay back. What portion of this offer is work study, because I then need to figure out if I have time to work and study and earn a paycheck for this type of financial aid. How much of what is being offered to me is that of student loan funding, because this is money that I have to pay back. And particularly if a student is taking a bachelor's degree or master's degree or doctorate degree, every year the student goes to college, they may have to be borrowing loan funds each of those years. So you want to keep in mind the overall indebtedness that you would have after you get your ultimate degree. Again, we encourage students to borrow conservatively when it comes to taking out loans, because you have to repay those back. Some of the other things you might want to consider are the terms of scholarships that are being offered to you. Do you have to maintain a certain GPA? Do you have to maintain a certain enrollment status? Are any of these scholarships renewable? Do I have to fill out an application every year? So those are some of the questions that you want to keep in mind when you are considering that award offer. Some other helpful hints that we have to offer you is we do not want you to fall prey to such things as scholarship scams. Unfortunately, there are sites out there that attempt to charge families money to apply for financial aid. You need to recognize that the free application for federal student aid is just that. It's a free application, and the only thing that it costs is the time invested to complete the application. So if you ever get on a site that is trying to charge you money to apply for financial aid, you are on the wrong site. We want you to apply early, be aware of all of those deadlines. Again, the scholarship may have one deadline, the college may have a deadline, the state has a deadline. So make sure that you know each of those deadlines so that you can plan accordingly. Do ask questions along the way, and be sure to contact the financial aid office at the colleges you are considering if you have any questions. There are numerous amounts of resources available to students and families when it comes to applying for financial aid and the different types of financial aid that are available. We have those listed here. Studentaid.gov is the main hub, which you can find the FAFSA application on and much other information. The state of Iowa has a website of Iowa College Aid. The Iowa College Access Network is also an excellent resource to students and families. There's information about the IRS, the Selective Service, Veterans Affairs, Americans with Disabilities, and additional scholarship application and opportunities for not only minorities, but free legitimate scholarship search engines out there. We want you to be aware that the financial aid offices at Eastern Iowa Community Colleges offer assistance to students and families who have questions. You do have our email addresses as well as our phone numbers here. Please take advantage of those if we can assist you in any way, shape, or form. And again, ask as many questions as you possibly can. We do not want this process to be that cumbersome for you, and we want to make sure that you are successful in your academic endeavors and that you know that there is help available to assist you in going to college. I wish you all the best in your academic endeavors.